This video is for a fiberglass toe cap for a open toe walking boot. The equipment you're going to need is the boot liner, Chuck's pad, gloves, scissors, Sharpie, cotton, stockinette, and some water. And of course a patient that needs a toe cap in their boot. Okay, so the padding for this toe cap is actually a little bit unusual. It's not like normal casting. We're building a toe cap. You would need one like, say you didn't have a closed toe boot and the patient needed a closed toe boot because they need it for work, whether they work construction, medical, somewhere requires them to wear something that the toes are enclosed and protected. And all you have is this open toe boot. Well, that's where the toe cap comes into play. And there's two types. The type I'm going to be demonstrating with the fiberglass here in the video is one that goes over the liner of the boot. As you see, I have placed the liner of the boot on the patient. I have sized them appropriately. They fit a small, so she now has the small liner. I am putting a Chuck's pad down on this footstool here because I'm going to have her leg down there. You will not be using a foot stand. You could use your thigh, and I recommend the boot liner. You cover the boot liner with a stockinette. This is to make sure you don't damage it with the fiberglass that we're going to be using. Also, fold it back over on itself, so I made it long enough to cuff the toe area. I'm also going to be using this wonderful cotton, and I found that out because I tried to do it without the cotton and just the stockinette, and it was very painful to remove the fiberglass from just the stockinette. So I started in the front. There is no 50-50, just make sure you cover up all the areas. I did have a little speck at the bottom that I found after placing my gloves on and preparing for fiberglass, and I noticed I missed a spot. This spot's inconsequential because the stockinette's there so it wouldn't damage the boot, but I'm going to go ahead and cover it up. And that's it for padding. So now we're moving into the fiberglass portion. You could use whichever color fiberglass you want. I chose black. You'll need 1 to 2 rolls depending on the foot size. To do this toe cap, dip it in the water. You can use hot or lukewarm. They have enough padding so you could use hot. I do 2 layers to tack, and then I go high on my first time around once I can get to the heel, and then low on the second time around. So I have tackable material fiberglass on top and bottom. Then I'll go 2 to 3 times through the middle of the foot. Once I do that, I will come back around to tack all this down because you want at least 5 layers of fiberglass everywhere. So normally 1 roll can do it, but I did have to use a second roll because I didn't make it back up the forefoot. And like I said, this is only one type of toe cap. You could also do an inside one where I wouldn't have used the liner and I would have just done the foot. I would have done the same stockinette and padding, just I would have done on the foot. Some patients prefer it on the outside where the liner is also padding, some on the inside. But as you see, I'm going back over it to give it some more thickness, to get that 5 layers at least, and I'm going to trim it. There is a part that's not covered on the bottom. That's fine. We only need the front portion. And now just about laminating and flattening the bottom. My patient for this was a little too short to get to that foot stand that I had with the Chuck's pad where I could have rested her to flatten the bottom. So I'm going to just be laminating and molding with my hands. I will flatten the bottom. I missed that portion. That's fine. We're not using it. We're just using the front toe box. But that's pretty much it for the fiberglass, and you'll just do this till it dries. And that's it. Okay, so this is the trim and refit for the toe cap. This is the hardest portion of it. You're going to now have to cut it off. Sometimes if you made it too thick, you will not be able to cut through this like I'm doing with the scissors. If you only did 3 to 4 passes, you can still chop through it and it just slides nicely off. But if you went too many times around the back and just didn't use it for a hold, you could be looking at using the cast saw or some spring-loaded scissors, something other than the Lister bandage scissors or the penny cutters. This part's going to require marking up the toe cap because now you finished it. So you need to mark it up for cutting. So the whole point, like I said, was to protect the toes because work requires it for them. You do not need to pass the forefoot, and you can kind of see where it starts moving into the ankle. Anything that looks like it's curving up into the ankle joint needs to be removed. So I'm going to mark it with the silver Sharpie. Anything that's curving upward past the forefoot into the ankle joint needs to go, because we only care about the toes. We also only care about the side. The bottom portion can go. We don't need it. They have the boot for the bottom portion. This is just wherever it's flat, we're going to be cutting it out. So lightly mark it, especially the first several times you do this. It's much easier to mark it and kind of look for those markers as you got the mold of the foot, and then you can trim it. Now, I will first show you on how to trim it with scissors, but I will show you why you cannot trim some portions of this. And because, as I said, you want it 5 to 6 to 7 even layers thick here. Normally 5 is what you're aiming for. Sometimes the scissors just won't be enough, as you see. They're going to glock down. You won't be able to do it. They're not going to go through. You can fold it a little bit, still a little wet, but you may not be able to hack through it with the scissors. So if you are unable to do that with the scissors, you will have to take it over and get spring-loaded ones, or what I'm going to be using is the cast saw. The cast saw can make very quick work of this thing. It is by far the best tool to use. You can have it trimmed up in about 30 seconds to a minute. Turn on the cast saw, follow your edging line, and you literally can trim it out very easily just by holding it in place with your hand and trimming the line that you already marked for where you want your toe cap to end. As you see, the saw is having no issue, and I'm not hurting my palms or hands trying to use my scissors to cut through this. Once you've got it all cut, you can then peel it out, which is what I'm going to do next, and get rid of all the excess that you don't need. This is a lot of work for a toe cap, but patients do appreciate it, especially if you don't have it and you're going to have to send them away, and you can get it done for them right there. So it only takes about 10 minutes to do one, so it's really not that time consuming. Once you got it done, you want to do the refit. The refit is just plugging it in. So I'll show you, I intentionally kind of made this a little big. I didn't do my cuts exactly correct on the side, just to show what the refit's for. You'll fit the boot on just like you would normally fit a boot on, and then you're going to plug in the toe cap. Remember, this is not an inside toe cap, it's an outside one, because we did it over the inside portion of the boot. So we plug it in. So automatically I found that it was a little too large once I plug in. The reason I'm saying that is once I strap this first strap down that holds it, I could still stick all my fingers inside of it on the top, even though it was completely down. So as you'll see, I've got it as tight as I can, but all my fingers were able to get underneath here, so it was a little too loose. So I had to take it and retrim it. So now we're moving into the finalizing. This is after my retrim. I did not show the cutting portion of it again. I just trimmed down the sides a little bit more on each side to let it fit in a little bit better, so it fit. I also fleeced the edges with some fleece, so it's no rough fiberglass edging, and I foamed the inside. If you don't have foam, you don't need it. They have the boot liner, so the liner will protect them, but a fleece edging is nice. It's a little extra. And once you plug this in, because I've trimmed it down and fixed the little inadequacies on it, I won't be able to plug my fingers all the way in there. It actually fits very nice and snug, and it's sturdy. It's much more sturdy than what comes on normal closed-toe boots. I can't get any fingers in there now. And she said she felt incredibly comfortable and safe in there, so it is pretty much done. It's on there locked, protecting her like it's supposed to do, and meets the standards that she needs. So that's it. Finally done with the toe cap.